All right, let's talk about a disaster that you may be sleepwalking into as an automation developer. I have a long automation here. It's really, really long, and it carries out a specific task. I'll get to the task later. It consumes around 140 operations, and it takes around 5 seconds to complete. And I have a similar looking automation below that, which carries out the same task, but it's way shorter than that. This whole thing has been replaced with one HTTP module right here, and it consumes exactly 82 operations, and it takes around 3 seconds to complete. And I have another one below, same task, same output, but now it's 59 operations, and it takes only 2 seconds. And I have another one right here. It's a bit different, but the same task, same output, but now it's 20 operations, and it takes around 1 second to complete. And this one right here is just 2 operations, as you can clearly see, but it carries out the same task, same output, takes only a few milliseconds. All right, we'll talk about this in detail a bit, and I promise you by the end of this video, I will give you compelling evidence how much you have to be careful when you're using these no-code tools to make systems and automations, because if you're not careful, you can lose your money, you can lose your clients' money, you can lose your reputation and even your business, which none of us want, right? All right, let's talk about what task these automations are carrying out. Well, this is a part of an appointment setup for a dental practice. When the patient calls, my voice agent answers the patient, and if the patient asks, what are the recent appointments you have? What is a good time to be there? Can I have an appointment? Do you have any available appointments or something in that line? This is the automation that's going to get activated. Simply what it does is that it fetches the available appointments for the next 4 working days. That's what it does. All right. The patient makes the call, voice agent answers. The voice agent sends the current date and time to the webhook in the make automation, this webhook right here. Once the webhook receives the data, the automation will get triggered. Now the make automation does 3 things. The first one, get the busy time slots, already occupied time slots from the Google Calendar. By the way, there are various ways to do this. This is the way I did it, all right? All right, it gets the busy time slots for the next 4 working days, which means it has to skip Sundays. And second, you have to get the defined appointment hours for this particular clinic. And it's recorded like this on a simple Google Sheet. So once you get the data, you have to do this rather complicated operation. Now you know the defined time slots and you know the busy hours. You just have to subtract these 2 and get the free time slots. However, if it is a Saturday, they don't work after 1:30, so you have to omit those. And the appointments available on the same day, you have to get the appointments 2 hours away from the time of the call. Because here's the thing. If I call you at 9:30 and the 9:30 appointment is available, you can't just assign me the 9:30 available. I don't have time to go there, right? Anyways, you have to do all that. And after you've done that, this should be the output, something like this. It's a JSON object. This webhook response must respond the original webhook with the output data. Now here's the thing. Why I explained all this is that to let you know, this webhook is waiting. That's the keyword, waiting. This webhook is waiting means my voice agent is waiting for the response. Our voice agent is waiting means our patient is waiting impatiently on the other end of the phone for the response. He wants to know what are the available appointments, right? So all this has to happen really, really quickly, because this patient, although it's called patient, he's not that patient, right? He's waiting for the response. This patient doesn't care. He shouldn't care about what technologies you use, what are the tools you use, no-code tools, low-code tools, your APIs, cloud solutions, your databases you use. Nobody cares. All that matters is that he gets the correct response fast and cheap. All right, now before I continue, here's a spoiler. I'm going to talk about coding, so I know how you look like. Like, I want to use no-code tools. No, I don't want to code.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Look, by the end of the video, I'll tell you exactly what to do. There's hope. I will give you a lot of hope. All I'm doing is I'm going to show you smarter ways to work. You got to listen to this, otherwise you might even lose your business and a lot of money. All right, this automation right here, this long one, is a complete no-code solution. This is the Google Sheet module. This is the Google Calendar module, and everything in between. All of this stuff are the get variables, set variables, iterators, aggregators, loops, and all that internal operations. This solution right here takes more than 140 operations. Why I say more than 140 operations is because after this point I stopped developing, because by this point it's like 80-90 operations, and I abandoned it because there's no point developing it anymore. So all of these are just guesswork. What I'm guessing is about 160-70 operations, but I'll be generous and say 140 operations approximately. So at this point, what I thought is that I talk to external APIs only twice: a Google Calendar here, a Google Sheet here, and everything else is this internal calculations. I can easily replace all this with just a simple JavaScript. So that's exactly what I did. How I did it is with a Google Cloud Function. There are ways to do it inside Make, but I'm all hell-bent to reduce the costs. So what I did is a Google Cloud Function, because it's so cheap. First 2 million invocations are free. If you take 1 more million invocations, it's just $3.5. Unimaginably cheap than the Make operations. For 1 million operations, you have to pay $880 in the Pro plan here. It's not only cheaper, it's lightning fast. So now when this works, I thought maybe I have a loop here. It's a simple for loop. Maybe I can modify the code and save a few more operations. So I modified the code. Just with 3 lines of code, I reduced it to 59 operations, from 81 to 59, 82 to 59. Then I thought, there are so many operations right here between the Google Calendar and the Google Sheet. Maybe I can replace them with another Google Cloud Function, which is exactly I did. And now this is down to just 20 operations, and it takes only a second. And then further looking into it, I thought, this is a Google Calendar. This is a Google Sheet. I'm using Google Cloud Functions. What's stopping me from going there, enabling those APIs in the Google Cloud, calling in the APIs, and do all this in a Cloud Function? That's exactly what I did right here. I'm not going to go through the source code. It's a long code, by the way. Now everything is being replaced by a single code, and it happens like lightning fast, just 2 operations. And at this point, you can ask me, why do you even use a no-code platform? Yes, you're right. This is actually my preferred way of working. Why? Because that's the beauty of no-code tools. The no-code tool takes away the complexity of reading through these long, tedious API documentations and testing all the API endpoints. You can just drag and drop, make the connections, and build systems. So I don't like this way. It depends. In this case, it makes sense. This is exactly what I'm going to do, but this is my preferred way of working. I can have the best of the both worlds. I can talk to different APIs really quickly, and I'm using JavaScript to simplify all the extra operations. All right, let's analyze these solutions. The y-axis is the number of operations consumed, and in the x-axis is the number of calls, assuming, once again, this task is the only task in the appointment setter, right? For convenience. This red line right here is for the no-code solution, that long no-code solution. Starts from 0, and about 1,000 calls, it's already 140,000 plus operations. And when you add some code, this is how it drops. Added even more code. It's a code that I replaced that for loop. Now it's dropped even more. And this is my preferred way of working. This operation right here, 1,000 calls, it's barely above 20,000. And look at the difference between the completely no code and this way of working. And this one, this is fantastic. 1,000 calls is still 2,000 operations. Look at the difference. This takes 5 seconds. This takes 3, 2, 1. And this is like super fast, few milliseconds. Let's look at the cost. All right, this is the no-code solution. It starts with 18.82. It's this plan. I assume that you are in this plan. When you reach like 120 calls, now you have to upgrade, because 10,000 operations is not enough. Now you have to go to 34.12, 20,000 operations. And around 280 calls, now you have to upgrade, because this no-code tool consumes a lot of operations, right? So you have to go to the next. And around 550, you have to upgrade again. And at about 1,050, 1,020, you have to upgrade again for 180 plus plan. So let's look at the sum code tool. Now added some code. Now you can stay in this plan until here. You have to upgrade here, upgrade again, but now you don't have to upgrade to this plan. Now let's go to the next one. I've added even more code. Now you have to upgrade only 2 times. Let's go to the next one. This is my preferred way of working. I can stay in the 10,000 operations plan until here. Now in the extreme code solution, you never have to upgrade. Look at this. It's cheap and fast. However, this is not the reality. The actual cost is so much higher than this. I've done all the costing here, assuming that you stick to this pro plan. But the reality is that when you reach like 40,000, 80,000 operations a month, this will become so slow. You can't just scale up in this same plan. You will need these high priority scenario executions. So at some point, you'll have to go to this Teams plan. I don't know. I never had to do that. So I'm assuming here. I told you the no-code solution takes 5 seconds to respond, right? 5 seconds to respond without any load on the system. All right, here's what happens. Your customer asks, what are the available appointments? And the voice agent says, okay, give me a minute, I'll check. Okay, here are the appointments. You see that latency there? That's even without any load on the system. By default, it's there. The problem is that when the demand goes up for the system, now you have concurrent calls. There are multiple instances of this automation runs in the server. Now your execution is getting slower and slower. That's the time you will have to go to a higher plan for faster executions. And after a while, even that won't be enough. You can't just keep going to higher operation counts like this, because here's the thing. Let's say it's an appointment setter, and for every call, in average, you're consuming like 600, 800 operations, 1,000, 2,000 calls. At this point, your client is losing money now. We are talking about an appointment setter. This is like the amount of money you have to pay for a human to do the job. And you're paying for what? For a very slow, non-responsive, unreliable system. It's too slow. And here's the reality. What happens at this point is that you're panicking. Now you have to upgrade to the enterprise plan for the advanced functionality. What advanced functionality? Lo and behold, custom functions. Custom functions is exactly what I was talking about. Inside Make, now you can write JavaScript. They will tell you to do that. You'll have to do it. There's no other way of simplifying it. So why do we stay until this point that you have to go through all these screw-ups and you lose your reputation, and if you're building for a client, the client is murderously mad at you? Rather than staying until that moment, you can start adopting this way of working right now. So if you're using no-code tools to build the automations and you don't know coding, is the hope is gone? If you want hope, look at the graph again. Because here's the thing, this becomes a problem only when the demand grows. The difference between the no-code solutions and the coded solutions grows with the demand, right? So you're using completely no-code solutions means you're a beginner anyway, and you're targeting small businesses, so no problem. So continue doing what you do. Just don't be in the illusion that you can create these massive, big, scalable systems with completely no-code tools. What I suggest that you do is that you continue what you're doing, great. Either learn how to code, because this is the age of ChatGPT and you can learn how to code within few weeks, right? It's very easy. And you can generate code too. The code that I told you that I've written, actually half of them was generated by ChatGPT, to be honest. It's not that difficult. I'm embarrassed to say that, but that's the reality. That's how people work now. But you have to know coding first. So still, if you don't want to code, partner up with a developer or hire a developer. Now, I'm trained as a software engineer. I'm comfortable with coding and I can do everything my own. But still, I'll be partnering up with a developer really soon. Everybody who starts with no-code tools down the line have to partner up or hire a developer. You got to plan for it from now on. Anyways, I'm not going to explain this example right here because this is too long and too complicated. The reason why I had to do this complicated example is that because I needed an automation that takes like few seconds, because Make doesn't give you the execution times in milliseconds. Make just tell you like this took 1 second, 5 seconds, under 5 seconds, 4 seconds. That's what Make gives you. So you know what, Make, if you're listening, give us time in milliseconds. This is not working. So that's why the automations are so complicated. And I'm not going to go into this codes and how to set this up in Google and everything, because the video is already too long. Hopefully by the end of next week, I'll do a simple example and how to set up this Google Cloud Run functions there, how to integrate that into Make, and how to do all that, a step-by-step tutorial. So until then, think about this, take this very serious, because it can ruin you if you're not careful. So anyways, bye-bye.